Welcome to the I Told My Story channel. I'm Aria. My mom was cooking in the kitchen. I was texting Harper on my phone when I suddenly heard my dad come in through the door.
Aria, come to the living room right away. I need to tell you something,
he said. I put down my phone and went over to him. What's wrong, Dad? What happened? I asked, my face showing a hint of worry. Smiling, he said,
Nothing to worry about. Your great-grandfather left us an inheritance, $100,000.
I was shocked. An inheritance? When was the last time you talked to him? Was he still alive? Dad took a deep breath.
Your great-grandfather passed away. We hadn't been in touch for years, but he still left us his inheritance. $100,000 is no small amount. This money has been deposited into an account under your name, and here's the credit card for it. Aria, this is an opportunity for your future. If you use it wisely, it can change your life.
The next day, in the school hallway, I excitedly told Harper. Harper, you won't believe it. My dad told me we inherited $100,000 from my great-grandfather. The money's in an account under my name, and I even have the credit card now. I can spend it however I want. Harper's eyes lit up. Really? Aria, that's amazing news. I'm so happy for you, she said. Just then, the boy Harper found super cool walked past us. She froze for a moment. Oh my gosh, isn't Caleb so charismatic? Though I didn't want to, my eyes drifted toward him. At that moment, the school's two most popular girls, Hazel and Mia, appeared beside us. With a mocking tone, Mia said, Caleb, don't bother. He's going to be my boyfriend. She laughed, linking her arm with Hazel's, and then they walked away. Harper's face darkened. I can't stand those girls. They think they're the center of the universe. Like everything revolves around them. I tapped her on the shoulder playfully. Let it go, Harper. They're not worth it. After school, a jacket in the window of a high-end store caught my eye. That's so pretty, I thought. A store clerk maintaining a distant demeanor approached me. How can I help you? Without taking my eyes off the jacket in the display, I said, I really like the jacket in the window. Can I see it? The woman paused for a moment, then said in a slightly condescending tone, Ma'am, that jacket is quite expensive. Her words irritated me. Ignoring her tone, I said firmly, I don't need to try it on. I'll take it. You should have seen the shock on her face. She quickly composed herself and smiled. Of course, Miss Aria. Would you like anything else? Her tone had completely changed. When she handed me the jacket and the bag, I thanked her, holding my credit card confidently. As I walked out of the store, I thought to myself, with this card, no one can look down on me. The next day, Harper was waiting for me in the school courtyard. When she saw my jacket, her eyes sparkled. Wow, Aria, you look amazing. Is that jacket new? She asked excitedly. I smiled. Yeah, I bought it yesterday. It's a pricey brand, but once in a while, why not? Just then, Hazel and Mia walked by and stopped to look at me. Hazel smiled and said, Aria, that jacket is from a really expensive brand, and it's super trendy. I was surprised and smiled back. Thanks so much. I got it yesterday, I said, feeling a sense of pride. Hazel continued, You have to join us at our table during lunch today. I blurted out, Sure, I'd love to. After they left, I turned to Harper. Hey, is it okay if we eat with them today? Harper's face fell slightly, but she said, Of course, Aria, it's fine. At lunch, I sat at Hazel and Mia's table. The girls were lively, laughing and making jokes, but I quickly adapted. At one point, I glanced at Harper. She was at a nearby table watching us with a sad expression. I thought to myself, I hope she doesn't misunderstand this. From that day on, I started hanging out with Hazel and Mia. After school, we'd go shopping and buy bags full of clothes. On weekends, we'd eat at fancy restaurants and spend a fortune on luxury handbags. Meanwhile, Harper watched us from afar. I could see the sadness in her eyes, but I was having so much fun that it felt like Harper was slipping out of my life. One day after school, while walking in the courtyard with Hazel and Mia, Harper stopped us. Aria, can we talk for a moment? She asked. I looked at Hazel and Mia, then turned to her coolly. Sure, what is it? Harper gave a small smile. I'm having my birthday party this weekend at my place. You'll come, right? I had completely forgotten about her birthday. Just as I was about to answer, Mia nudged me and said impatiently, Aria, how much longer are we going to wait? Let's go to the new cafe already. Turning back to Harper, I said, my friends are waiting for me. I'll call you if I can make it. As I walked away with Hazel and Mia, I saw Harper lower her gaze sadly. I pushed the thought out of my mind and continued walking with the girls. That evening, I returned home from the cafe in high spirits, only to find my parents in the living room looking upset. I quickly ran to them. Mom, Dad, what's wrong? Are you okay? Mom, what happened to your head? I asked, noticing the bandage on her forehead. Dad sighed deeply.
Sweetheart, your mom fainted at home today and hit her head. We need to take her to the hospital.
Of course, Dad. I'll call a taxi right now, I said. We rushed Mom to the hospital. While Mom was in the doctor's office, Dad and I waited in the corridor. The doctor eventually came out to talk to us.
I'm afraid I have bad news. We've detected a mass on her brain and she needs emergency surgery,
he said. Dad immediately replied,
Of course. Let's do it right away, doctor.
The doctor looked serious.
The surgery will cost $80,000 and unfortunately your insurance won't cover it. You'll need to pay the full amount.
Dad turned to me.
Aria, we have that money, don't we? For your mom's surgery?
Without hesitation, I said, Yes, Dad, we do. Dad sighed with a relief and turned to the doctor.
Yes, we have the money. Can you schedule the surgery as soon as possible?
The doctor replied,
We can do it next Friday, but you'll need to make the payment by Thursday at the latest.
I chimed in. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. The doctor added,
In the meantime, your wife shouldn't move around much and will need to stay in the hospital.
Dad nodded.
All right, I'll stay here with her, he said.
Then he turned to me and said,
Sweetheart, you should go home. Don't neglect your schoolwork and make sure the payment is made by Thursday.
Tears welled up in my eyes. Okay, Dad, I said softly. When Dad asked me about the money, I had assured him it was ready. But as I said those words, my chest tightened. I didn't know exactly how much I had left. Taking out my phone, I logged into my bank account. I caught my breath when I saw the balance. Out of the $100,000, only $40,000 remained. I need to find another $40,000 for the surgery. I couldn't believe how much I had spent. My eyes filled with tears as I thought, easy money goes just as easily. Now I had to find the rest of the money to save my mom's life. Time was running out. The next day, I found Hazel and Mia in the school hallway. I rushed over to them. Girls, something terrible has happened, I said. Hazel immediately asked, What is it? My mom needs emergency surgery. I'm so embarrassed, but I need to ask you something, I said, pausing. Finally summoning all my courage, I continued. Both of your families are wealthy. Could you lend me $40,000? I promise I'll work after school to pay it back somehow. Hazel and Mia, who spent thousands of dollars on handbags without hesitation, avoided my gaze. Hazel spoke first. My dad's finances are so tight this month that he had to borrow money from our neighbor, she said. Mia added, It's the same for us. My dad lost a lot of money in the stock market. All I could say was, I understand. As I walked away, I couldn't hold back my tears. I stood in the hallway crying alone until someone suddenly hugged me. When I turned, I saw Harper. Are you okay? She asked. No, I'm not, I said, and I told her everything. Finally, I asked, What am I going to do about the rest of the money? Harper thought for a moment and then said confidently, It's simple. First, let's start selling the expensive things you've bought online as secondhand items. We'll figure out the rest later. Her practical approach gave me hope. While Hazel and Mia were nowhere to be found, Harper stood by my side, offering both support and solutions. That night, Harper came over to my house. We photographed all my luxury items and listed them on the secondhand websites. Over the next few days, offers started coming in. I sold a $10,000 bag for $5,000 and a $3,000 jacket for $1,500. I managed to get rid of most of my items, but by Wednesday, I had only raised $20,000. I had nothing left to sell and still needed another $20,000. After school, I turned to Harper and said, I'm going to the hospital. I'm so grateful for everything you've done, but I need to tell my dad I'm still $20,000 short. Harper nodded sadly, understanding my predicament. When I got home, I changed clothes and went to the hospital. My dad was sitting in a chair outside my mom's room. My eyes welled up with tears, but I kept telling myself, I have to confess this to my dad. I sat beside him. Dad, I began. He looked at me lovingly.
My smart, hard-working girl is here. You've been managing everything so well while we're away,
he said. His kind words only deepened my guilt. I made up my mind and said, Dad, I need to tell you something. He looked concerned.
Of course, sweetheart. What is it?
Just as I was about to explain, Harper appeared out of nowhere. Mr. Carter, I'm so sorry for what your family is going through. Can I borrow Aria for just a minute? I need to talk to her privately, she said. Dad understandingly said, Of course, Harper, and gave us space. In the hallway, I turned to Harper and asked, What's going on? I was just about to tell my dad everything. Harper smiled. You don't have to. I explained everything to my dad when I got home. He said,
We don't have much, but we can take out a $20,000 loan from the bank to help. Aria and her family can pay us back later.
I couldn't believe my ears. Tears streamed down my face as I hugged her tightly. We stood there silently crying together. At that moment, I truly understood what it meant to have a real friend. The next day, Harper brought me the $20,000. I transferred the full $80,000 to the hospital's account. My mom's surgery was scheduled for Friday. Thankfully, it went successfully, and her health improved day by day. One day after school, I hugged Harper in the hallway. If it weren't for you, my mom might not be here today, I said. She smiled and replied, That's what friends are for. With tears in my eyes, I said, I'll pay back every penny as soon as possible. Harper laughed. Don't worry about it. And hey, find me a job at your workplace. We can work together. Her words touched me deeply. I hugged her tightly and we walked out of school together. If you were to ask me now what's more important, the journey or the destination, I'd say neither. What truly matters is who you walk the path with. Take care of yourselves. Bye.